Let's get to Sam. Kyle's starting to get heated.
I'm mad, dude.
I'm going to have to flip
I'm
the script
angry.
again. Days since Kyle had a meltdown. 0. Joining us right now, a guy who's absolutely...
It's just permanent ink.
Guy who's known for meltdowns all over the place. Do not challenge Sam Amick. Do not get him to lose his temper, or it will be a bad day for you. From The Athletic, the one, the only Sam Amick. Hello, Sam. Oh, Sam's not turned up.
Man.
I'm sorry, Sam. We didn't hear you. You were turned down the whole time. Hello, good morning.
I said, what did I do to you? Geez, there's some backstory here when I lost my you-know-what on you?
Remember that one time?
I do. It's funny you say that. I wrote something.
Hold on, wait a minute. Sam's never lost his temper on me, so unless I forgot.
He said the cushy poker player build thing really angrily.
Right.
I know, exactly. If anybody got mad in this relationship, it's this guy.
Hey, dude, at least I'm not bringing you on my show and then blowing you up for leaving the game early. That was brutal yesterday. Dude.
Who? I didn't even hear it. Did they blow me up?
No, it was when you came on. Like, Damien's first question to you was about you leaving. You said, like, hey, do you have sources that say I left or something like that? You don't remember? That was how the whole interview started. I'm like, wow, talk about blowing Sam up.
I don't think you knew, though. I think we stumbled into that. I don't think you knew that. I think I just got exposed. It's all right. It's all good. By the way, for the record, you are, when I hear the word Dave and the name Dave, you're the only one that comes to mind. So I think you're part of this group.
Sam,
and I'm not on Team Kyle. Sorry, Kyle. I think the nickname should count.
I was just going to ask that. Okay. Okay.
Oh boy.
Because if you here's a funny example: LeBron James and Kevin Durant. You say LeBron, we know who that is, but that's a very distinct first name.
Sure.
Is it Kevin's fault that his parents gave him a name that's so non-distinguishable?
No.
I mean, Kevin could be better than Jordan.
But if you say KD, we know who it is.
Kevin. Well, sure, yeah. If you go to the initials, that's fair.
Right, but that
is fair.
I'm not talking about like quality of player or anything.
No.
And if you want to include nicknames, that's fine.
Okay, I think.
But the initial conversation was first names.
We were still trying to figure it out. We were workshopping the bit, Kyle. Okay,
I know, and that's fine.
And I think we've workshopped it to yes, because I think KD should count, Magic should count, Babe.
Okay, great.
Let's
count them then.
Players that you know them off of one name or a couple initials or whatever. And Ichiro's on that list. It's not like you're thinking about. It's not like somebody says, "Oh, did you see Ichiro?" And you're like, "Who, Bob?
Which one?" Right.
Which Ichiro are we talking about? But then there's some people too, like or the Mick for Mickey Mantle. You know that. But I think if I say, dude, Pete was amazing. You're like Pete. Well, yeah, Pete Rose. Like there's some players aren't known by one name.
Can I, I've lost touch with my baseball roots over the years, so I'm not an expert on this front.
Uh-huh.
But, Dave, I saw you tweeting about it last night. I mean, Ichiro is a Hall of Famer, correct?
Oh, no, Sam. You got my trolling, dude. You got caught up in the net. Somebody.
I was like, what? I know I lost touch, but come on, man.
No, every once in a while I'll do that. And so I said something like, I might have got caught up in the moment, but I really think Ichiro is a Hall of Famer. And then I'm having fun with the people that are like, what are you talking about? Yes, not only is Ichiro a Hall of Famer, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He might be a unanimous Hall of Famer. Oh, I caught Sam up in the netting.
Well, not only that, but like from a sheer I'm feeling older these days standpoint, I'm like, man, this dude has been doing this since I felt young.
Right.
So
2001.
That's a pretty good metric. Right.
Sam Amick with us. Yes, we will talk a little bit of basketball. Sam, correct me if I'm wrong. I apologize. I try to remember, and I usually do most, if not all, of our conversations. I think the last time we talked about Coach of the Year candidates, I want to say you and I both agreed that at that point, I think Mike Budenholzer would have been our vote. Does that sound familiar, or am I getting that completely wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that sounds right. Yep.
So I was thinking about this last night, and we've seen this happen throughout the years. Sam, I think if I blank everything out and just start from scratch, I can create in my brain an almost undeniable case for Greg Popovich. And obviously things have happened since we last talked. But for example, let me just give you a situation. Let's say, 10, 12 games left. They lost at home to Miami last night. But let's say over the next 12 games, it's a 7-4 or 8-4, 9-3 finish on top of the 9 in a row. Is it still there for Pop, or do you think it's one of those, it's Pop, we expect this out of him, it's got to be somebody else deals?
Yeah, I think there's probably too many other strong cases for, like, Pop has to just take it to the next level. And you could argue that he has, but if here's the more puzzling one for me, not to jump off this first thing, is that I didn't even have Doc Rivers in my top 3.
Yep.
And he honestly might be my pick right now.
Yep.
Because you have a record. Yeah, like you have a record that is right there with the Spurs, and you do not have perennial all-stars like DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge and even a high-level all-star caliber player in Rudy Gay.
Sure.
You have trades where you lost your best player in Tobias Harris. You have a culture where Steve Ballmer set the tone for this because he told them internally that he would, even though they traded Harris and they got a bunch of future assets and they were rebuilding on that track, that he didn't want to miss the playoffs. And so, Doc, I read about this yesterday in the Washington Post, that he had like quasi-therapy sessions with his players to convince them that, no, we are not tanking and let's go.
Right.
So, but Pop's candidacy is tremendous as well, and it's incredible how they not only have gotten to where they are for the scope of the season, but if you talk about what have you done for me lately, they look like, one of the most dangerous teams in the whole league.
I was looking at the Spurs losing Dejounte Murray, having Aldridge and having Aldridge. Why am I blank? DeRozan, and then I love how you bring up Rudy Gay because it's true. Rudy Gay is actually having a really good kind of unexpected year. If you make a great case for the Clippers, in fact, it's almost tough. I hate to. I'm not throwing shade at Mike Budenholzer, but you got Bledsoe, you have Middleton, you have Brogdon, you have. Obviously that Giannis kid who's okay. I get it.
Although that's not an impressive list, to be honest. The names, that's where I think Budenholzer's strength of his candidacy lies, is that Middleton finally got an All-Star berth this year, but he's kind of like a fringe East Coast All-Star.
Sure.
Bledsoe is a guy that nobody thought he was going to be this good, and Brogdon's obviously hurt now, but. My argument for Bud would be that if you break down their system, he put his stamp all over what the Bucks do. They shoot like 15 more threes per game this season compared to last. He unlocked Giannis in the kind of way that has him obviously possibly winning the MVP. So it's another strong case, but it's just not as shocking as I think Pop or the Clippers.
Sam Amick with us. I want to touch on the Lakers real quick. And one of the reasons I do that with you, if people are wondering, why do they always talk about the Lakers, is Sam's written a lot of really good pieces on the Lakers, has had great access to Jeannie Buss. And I think along with, I would say, reading pretty much everything Sam writes, his insight into Kevin Durant and his insight into the Laker organization are two of Sam's specialties. And I was looking at a list the other day that had, I think it was the Knicks and Lakers with the worst winning percentages over the last 5 years in the NBA, which is just amazing in itself. And we talked about the passing of Dr. Jerry Buss and how things have gone since then, coincidental or not. We've talked about Magic Johnson, Sam, and looking at his history. But going into this summer, I mean, yet again, they're going to have probably another top 3 pick. They have LeBron James. Nobody's selling the team. So do you see Jeannie Buss getting more or less involved? Magic Johnson still being on the hot seat at all or not? Where do you see the summer with the Lakers?
I think there could be some pressure applied to the front office, but it would likely be more on Rob Pelinka than it would Matt. I think Magic is, his relationship with Jeannie creates a heck of a buffer in terms of that's her big move. She's not going to give up on that big move after 1 year. It has been messy, but I certainly 95% think that Luke Walton is gone. But it's hard to not. I don't know. I've talked to the people at the top who you kind of alluded to about that topic within the last month, and they swear that it's not as much a foregone conclusion as we say it is in the media. And that's where our jobs get hard, because it's like, well, but wait, everybody else says it is, But who's that next person going to be? Doc Rivers shot down the rumors about him going to the Lakers. There's certainly a lot of Ty Lue speculation. But who is that coach who's going to be better than Luke Walton and take them to the next level? I don't know. So, that part is going to have to unfold. And then just the question of, do they get somebody to play with LeBron, especially when Father Time is knocking louder at this point on that door than I thought that we thought he was going to. It's just LeBron did not. His numbers were good this year, but the nature of his injury, a soft tissue groin injury, that kind of indicates that kind of fallibility and age, combined with terrible optics when it comes to leadership and how bad they played as a team. I think they got a lot of work to do.
Sam Amick of The Athletic joining us. Coming back to we'll finish with the Kings here. Don't want to just keep rehashing what we usually talk about with the Kings, but you were there for at least the good portions, as many were, of that game versus the Nets, and then obviously a historical collapse. They take on the Mavericks tonight, by the way, right here on KHTK. Luka Doncic, Marvin Bagley featured in this game. Let me just ask you from 50,000 feet, Sam, your general read on the team, on the way they're finishing a little lackluster. Do you think that carries into the offseason as far as decisions being made, or do you chalk it up to the schedule and the quality of opponent?
I think it has substantive kind of, I think it matters. You know what I mean? Yep. Quality of opponent, they should be able to beat Brooklyn at home.
Sure.
And especially up by 25 going into the fourth quarter. So it's funny. This is the fun part of, you and I have talked about, of me being based here, is I get that, even though I don't cover the Kings per se anymore, I still get that kind of in the community experience. I was just at my son's school, and it's like walking through the front office, and randomly, one of the folks there says, "God, I can't believe that lost to the Nets."
Yep.
People are hurting over it. The coaching stuff is still going to be something that we monitor. My understanding is it's just that thing that I wrote a lot about earlier in the season, the conflict in the front office with Brandon Williams, the assistant GM, and the fact that Dave, agree or disagree, has trust concerns about the folks above him. That never got resolved.
Right.
And so what is that conversation like in the summer? And, where does it lead? Because on one side I guarantee you're going to have the pressure of Dave and his group saying, okay, we did a really good job this year. Let's get a long-term extension. And also, I want you to take care of this other problem. And then you're going to have the organization, I anticipate, saying, okay, you can't tell us what to do outside of your own scope. And does that mean that we're not going to remain together? So I don't really know what direction that's going to go.
Well, then let me ask you this, just final question here with, of course, Coach Yeager coming on the show in 5 minutes. Let's
good segue.
I know, right? Jeez. I mean, listen, and I'll say that with Coach Yeager coming on in 5 minutes. Let me remind everybody that I've had coaches back all year long and do hope they re-sign him. But let's say that does not happen. Let's say Coach and the Kings part ways at the end of the year. I am curious. Do you think Yeager is in a position where he'll be sought after and on a bench next year? Or do you think odds are he's back on that merry-go-round? In other words, has he done enough here to make him a coveted head coach going into next year? Or if you were his agent, is his best move, if it's available, to stay right here?
There's a third option that is, from the life standpoint, you can't kind of gloss over, which is revel in a job well done, reconnect on the personal front, do some media work,
sure,
get paid for doing nothing. He's still getting paid for next year.
Right.
So his name's not going to be, there's buzz around his name now because of the job they've done this season. And so the Minnesota job is one that certainly is always tied to him. And so who knows, do they keep Ryan Saunders? Does they become part of that situation? These are big ifs. But I could see if he wasn't back in Sacramento, I'd probably handicap, taking a year off and doing media stuff and then figuring out what he wanted his next move to be.
He'd probably be pretty good in the media, I think. I think he'd be interesting on those. If Tom Thibodeau can nail it, I think Dave Yeager can nail it.
That's a low bar.
It is, a little bit. Sam Amick, The Athletic. Go to theathletic.com. Best coverage of sports there is around, in the written form especially. These guys give journalists a lot of room to show their talents, and they've picked up quite a bit of talent over the last few years. Obviously, Sam being one. We talk to Matt Barrows quite often, and many, many others that we tap with The Athletic. Subscriptions lower than a beer at a bar these days, and they always have specials going on. So check them out at theathletic.com. And Sam, we always appreciate your time. Have a great weekend, buddy.
I appreciate the love. Hey, can I throw a thought exercise at you as I leave here?
Oh, please do.
They're going to give me a podcast. I need a name. So, come up with a name, would you?
I'll
do it right now.
Okay.
We can circle back on it.
Kyle's going to be all over it. Okay, so.
Sam, I have got your back. I'll have a DM ready for you in the next 10 minutes.
Well, I don't think I can announce. There's going to be a co-host. It's another East Coast-based NBA writer, so it's a two-man setup, and we're in the workshopping phase. So
the two-man game.
There you go. Well, that's where, the Basketball Analogy podcast, which is a real podcast, that's where that was born, because I think we're probably going to steer clear of the low post and, the pick and pop and the heat check. We might go non-basketball vernacular, but we'll see. I want to throw that. I respect your guys' views, so just throwing that your way.
That's your first mistake. Secondly, I think, Kyle's going for, creative names. I want something that plays off of Sam or Amick. I feel like that's where I'm going to go, Sam. I'm going to send you 90 different things that play off of your name. So if you do get a co-host, it's going to screw everything up.
Well, no, there is. There's 100% a co-host, so don't go too far down that road.
How about Sam and friend?
Sam plus one.
All right, we're working on that. We'll involve the listeners too, buddy. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.
You're listening to The Drive.